How are you?
Hey, Hayley, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm all right, thank you.
Good.
Hello to you joining us for chapter 12 of the Measure of Marketing, all about video content creation with videographer and video specialist Josh Penlington. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Worse than being on the other side of the camera.
Yeah, it's such a topic, isn't it? Like I remember when I was in marketing, gosh, like 16 years ago, and we didn't do, I mean, I can't even really remember talking about social media loads. That's showing my age. But video, like how it, yeah, just none. We had barely any video content.
I'd say photography's always been the big
Yeah.
thing, but I think it's very much been since I suppose like the birth of social media where the importance for video production has kind of really kicked into gear.
Yes, definitely. And I guess so this podcast is all for smaller business owners, helping to guide them. And yeah, we've gone over lots of different topics so far across this podcast. And yeah, so we're very much focused on smaller audience, like smaller business function. So them tips of how to create video for like reels and things like that, plus doing it on probably a lesser budget or like the right time to actually go to professional videography and what that means and what they need to consider. um Obviously, like the content in itself fits into a bigger plan, which we've been chatting about, haven't we, just before we started to record, about like marketing plans, content plans and things like that. So yeah, share a little bit more, Josh, about what you do, how you work with smaller business owners and what that looks like. That would be really good for our audience to hear.
Well, a lot of what I say to business owners is very much about empowering them. So, like I say, we're providing a tool for their business to use to help promote themselves. So it's very much a finding out what the problem is or what they need fixing within their business at any given time, because there's going to be that catalyst that spurs in that, okay, we need to do video, we need to do some form of marketing, whether that be photo, video, and everything in between. So it's very much finding out what problem they're trying to solve. So is it they want to promote a new service or product? So you're looking for kind of a promotional video. Are they looking to try and educate and inspire their workforce? More educational video. Are they looking to try and create a community about their brand? So testimonials from happy customers, happy clients. So it's very much that discovery process with the client that we always try to focus on initially, so that we can really get down to the nuance of what it is they're trying to solve. Because like what we were just talking about before we went live, it's all well and good someone coming and saying they want a video creating. That doesn't get you very far in the first instance. So it's really getting down into the nitty gritty of what it is they're actually after. So then we can start to kind of really focus our efforts on that particular area. But it's a confidence thing primarily. So you'll find a lot of kind of business owners and staff members like, oh no, I don't want to jump in front of the camera or anything like that. But it's all about creating that comfortable space for whoever's going to be in front of the camera so that you get the best out of them. So we always tell people that the benefits of the type of video production that we do is it's not live, say like a news presenting cast or something like that. It's like if it takes 20 takes, it takes 20 takes, but we'll kind of go through that pre-production process to help kind of build a framework for the day. If we're doing kind of an interview style thing, we'll go through some questions so you can at least start to think about what it is you're going to be covering, straight through to on the day in filming, again creating that kind of calm environment. Yes, there's a lot of lights, camera actions going on, which can be quite daunting for someone that's not been in that world before. So again, we want to really create that nice environment because we want to get the best out of you. Because fundamentally, like our success from a video production side of things is seeing their success, and when they see the final video, going, "Oh my God, that's awesome! Like, what can we do next? What can we do with it? Where can we go with it?" And that's the overall kind of framework that we want to work towards whenever we're working with a new client or kind of pre-existing client.
And what kind of things would you use from like a marketing perspective that the small business owner has, that would help to kind of help you to guide them? Would it be like brand guidelines, or would you look over their marketing plan or talk to them about that, or like their brand strategy?
Yeah,
Like,
so we'll cover pretty much everything you said there. So during our initial discovery call, when they've kind of made that initial inquiry, we'll ask for them to send over brand guidelines, any marketing strategies they've got in play, even a call with kind of someone from a marketing agency that they may already be working with, so we can really kind of get in sync and be in synergy with the overall focus for what they're looking to achieve. Because if we're creating something that's going against what the marketing agency's kind of not said, or it's going in an opposite direction, it's just end up going to be a bit of a fumble overall. So we just want to make sure that everybody's in that kind of, I suppose, working along the same path, going in the same direction, pretty much straight from the offset there. Because I suppose the word is collaboration, isn't it? I suppose it's a very very overused term, but it just hits the nail on the head completely. Like I say, if you can have everybody collaborating positively from the get-go, it's only going to be a benefit.
yeah, definitely. And then from like a starting point, if someone they wanted some content for their website, or to promote, just they didn't even know where to almost start, is there a recommended like topic to start on, like introductions to self, or an introduction to the brand, or where would you get someone started if they didn't have a particular plan?
So I suppose it would go back again to what I was covering about what's the goal or the problem that they're looking to achieve. So if you're using the example of they're creating content for their new website rebrand as an example, like having an introduction piece kind of talking about the business and why they're so awesome at what they do, or if they're looking to create a bit of an about me piece, or like personalized staff Fox Pops, just going kind of who I am, this is what I do within my role within the business and so on. And then you can really start to spread out there. I think like you guys must do from a kind of marketing strategy standpoint, it's very much putting pen to paper. Like I say, we have all of these fantastic ideas kind of rumbling around in our heads, but you don't know which one to attack first. So just getting it all out in front of you, and even working with someone else, whether it be another member of your business or a marketing agency, it's just having that sounding board. Just go, what do you think of these? Where can we go with this? How do you think we can break this down? And then as soon as you start to do that, you can start to see the wood from the trees, and you can really start to kind of create your own mini marketing plan almost of what you want to do first. So whether it be from a favorite to worst kind of prioritization sort of standpoint, you can really start to attack things then. But I think, like I was saying before, it comes back to that confidence element, because a lot of people a lot of the time are worried what other people are going to think. It must root back to kind of like schoolyard playground days from when we were a lot younger. But from what I've experienced in the world, like I said, there's enough business out there for everyone. Like I said, everybody wants everyone to succeed. It just makes a kinder, nicer, simpler world. So people, there's always going to be your kind of keyboard warriors and trolls, or what have you. But in our kind of corporate world, there doesn't seem to be a overwhelming amount of that, which is brilliant. But everyone within your immediate network and circle is looking for you to achieve. I've seen like the Run Festival Leicester that was just on this weekend. I've seen a few posts from different companies that I've connected with who have had people kind of running for different charities, and it's just been so overwhelmingly supportive, which is brilliant to see. And it's just creating content like that which people are going to gravitate towards, because you want to be attracting your type of people that match your personality, your energy, your overall vibe. They're the people that we love working with overall, honestly. So like I love working with people like yourselves, other video production companies, people that are just excited to be having a go, not coming and going and coming in with quite a negative energy of going, oh, I'm not looking forward to this. My boss has told me I need to be doing this. It sets that tone quite quickly. Whereas if you can start to add excitement into it, it just makes the whole process kind of so much more fun and enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's a tough job for you as well, isn't it? Like if people have been forced to do video content and they're not used to it or they don't want to do it, and then yeah, it's difficult to bring someone's like vibration up to it
Yeah,
has that result, doesn't it,
one of the
on the
things we
video.
always say to people, like as we kind of sitting them down, getting them prepped for filming, is like we're here to make you look good. That is like,
Yeah.
forget all of the kind of fluff around it with the lights and the cameras and the microphones and everything. Like our job is to make you look and come across fantastic. So even if you end up making a bit of a blunder or a whoopsie, or you end up swearing mid-interview, it's like, oh, I can't have that in there. That's the beauty of video production. You can hide a multitude of sins in the edit. So we can make sure that you're looking 10 out of 10, sounding 10 out of 10. We're on message with what you're doing. I'm working with a client at the moment. We're on our seventh draft of the video just because they keep running it past their team. They're, oh, not too sure about that, not too sure about that. And again, fundamentally, we want to make sure that you're happy with the final product. Because so from a selfish business perspective, we want you to come back and use our services again. I imagine it's the same for a lot of people kind of in that world. So we were at a networking event this morning talking with a few people, and the IFA there was just telling us about, as they want to get the overall picture so that they can make sure they're helping in the correct way. And that framework and understanding, I would imagine, transcends across pretty much every industry that you can think of. Because if we've got the overall picture of what you're wanting to achieve, we can give you the best advice from our own judgment, kind of as best we can.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's something like in like social media, we've been pushed into doing more video content, haven't we? Like
Oh, yeah.
when Josh and I was at the same networking event this morning, and there was people there saying, oh, like when I'm confident to go on camera, like just to do reels and things like that. Like you think about the transition of that free content that we're putting out there, and we all have to just catch up and do what everyone else is doing, because that's what's now available through these platforms. And we don't have people like you by our sides to like make us look good, feel good, tell us what to do, like script us out. Like that social, like real and video content is probably even scarier as well. Like, do you help people through that or like mentor them through it or anything like that?
Um, I've never done any mentoring, but what I did with a recent client, they had just started dipping their toes in the water with regards to creating their own video content, which was fantastic to see. Because like you were saying just then, there's so many people that from that confidence perspective where they're too afraid to, or too concerned about what others are going to think about taking that first step and just having a go. It's like when we all started out in business, like we had things to learn. It's that learning curve. You're going to learn more as you're going along. So you're not going to get things right the first time. Like if you, what a lot of people say is that you get your greatest learnings through failures or something along those lines. But again, it's just having that confidence to take that first step and have a go. It was with the client that I was just referring to, we had created a quick proof of concept just to show what we could do with the content they'd already created from a social media standpoint. Unfortunately, we're from budgetary restrictions on their point. They weren't quite ready to jump into a professional standpoint using my services. But what I then did was just give them a little bit of advice on kind of how to better frame their video, spend less than £100 to buy a tripod rather than shaky handheld, to get some nice cost effective wireless microphones, just so that they could improve those elements of production qualities, even down to tiny little bits about changing the resolution on your iPhones when you're filming from kind of HD to 4K. Just all these little bits and bobs that are only going to better kind of fill that gap between kind of not to say amateur, but DIY through to where they would then get me involved. And again, as they're going through that process and learning and failing and learning and failing and succeeding, it's like they're going to find better ways of doing things more effectively, more efficiently, and they'll end up being able to make their DIY content that bit more professional every time they have a go at it. So hopefully, I say come February when we're going to be following up with them, that will then come to something from a professional standpoint, but it'll be a really exciting and interesting journey for me to follow to see how they're improving on that content. At the same time, there's very much that accountability element that comes into play. Obviously, we've all got our own 9 to 5s at play on any given day, so we've always got a million one things to do, and adding doing your own marketing into that plethora of things can sometimes end up being left by the wayside, which is obviously why they then start to kind of hire in the likes of ourselves to come and do these things, because they're too busy making sure they've got enough money to keep the lights on or keep customers X, Y, and Z happy, and so on and so forth. So there's always that supply and demand and need. It's just a very much an as of when one becomes more of an importance than the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, how have you worked with clients and like brought video content in, or like has there been a point where you've said, yeah, it's kind of like time to get video content for a particular purpose or a certain campaign? Or
So I have some clients that say I need to be doing video because my competitors are, and I challenge that. And then I have some say I need to be doing video, but I really don't like it. I don't want to do it. So I say, well, don't do it then. Actually, if you feel more confident blogging, or if you feel more confident, in using other forms of content, do that. And then I'll get some clients where I actually recommend that they do more DIY video, just to be able to put their face to their brand and to build that connection with their audience, because they tend to have the want to do it, but they need that, as Josh, you've said, that confidence to be able to sort of put themselves forward and do it, and to, I suppose, reap the benefits of showing themselves and their personality and their character and just being natural. And it's often giving them the why that they don't often realize for doing it, if that makes sense. But then there'll come a point where a small business owner, a client, will need that opposite end of video, be it for a show reel or for a reintroduction, a rebrand, or an introduction to their services, and actually say, we need a bit of help here. Actually, we need someone to help us storyboard this, to kind of give us an idea in terms of the structure of it and the content type, blah, blah, blah. And it puts them off because they're scared of how much it's going to cost. And I think this is one of the things I wanted to chat to you about, Josh, is it's getting, I suppose, people aware that video doesn't have to be expensive, and it's your expertise that people are dialing into, but it doesn't have to be tens of thousands of pounds. There are ways of doing it that are cost effective and real and of quality. So how do you approach that? Because it's often a challenge that I have with clients to get them to realize it can be done.
One of the biggest stigmas, like this is speaking with other creatives, videographers, photographers, and the likes of, the biggest stigma that we seem to have to battle with is those terms of cost versus investment. Cost has got a very kind of negative, I suppose, stance against it all. It's like, oh, it's costing me money. We're very much trying to reframe it and saying this is an investment into your business. What we try to do a lot of the time when we're creating content is to make it more evergreen. And I mean evergreen in the sense of when you're filming it, there's nothing in there that's adding a timestamp onto the video. So for example, if you're doing a Christmas campaign, for example, you're only really going to be able to use that on the lead up to Christmas and during Christmas. So say like 2 to 3 months out of the year, a real stretch. The rest of the year, it's pretty useless. Whereas if you can create content, say a handful of customer testimonials, so let's use like a a trades type business, so like garden design or a plumber or an electrician or something like that, creating customer testimonials, speaking of how great their customer service was, the attention to detail, the overall quality of work. These types of content can then be used all year round, because having someone else speaking highly of your own business is, number one, a fantastic form of marketing. It's all well and good as tooting our own horn saying how good we are, but if you've got half a dozen other people going, so and so is fantastic, you should use him, that form of marketing is just, not advocate form of marketing, is just so powerful. But again, doesn't need to cost tens of thousands. It comes back to that problem that you're trying to achieve. And a lot of creatives and videographers and everyone in the creative sectors were normally working off half day rates for this, full day rates for that. It's creating that bespoke package almost that works within your budget. I imagine you guys have kind of experienced as well, that one of the first questions you're asking during that discovery process, once you've gotten all of the exciting ideas down and that vibe is really going, so okay, so what budget have you got available for this idea, this project that you're going? All of a sudden the cards are to the chest, and like the conversation grinds to a halt. I don't know if it's a overwhelmingly British thing or not, but as soon as we start talking about money, that you can hear the tumbleweed cross the screen, cross the room. And it's like, we're not trying to get the most money out of you as we possibly can. Like, fantastic, you said you've got £5,000 available. I'm not going to charge £4,999.99. It's not what we're after. It's what we can then start to visualize that we can fit in to this restriction that you have. Obviously, any form of marketing is going to cost an amount. So it depends on if you're a new startup, established SME, big old corporate. Obviously, the levels there are going to incrementally go up because of the size of your business and the size of the problem that we're looking to solve for you. So if you're looking to create one video or 20, obviously from a filming perspective, 20 videos are going to take a lot longer to film than one. Likewise, editing 20 videos is going to take a damn sight longer than editing one. So it's bringing that into perspective for the client when we're having that conversation. Again, we're not looking to try and rip you off. We're just trying to be candid with you. So if you say, okay, I've only got £1,500 available, okay, this is what we can do for you, keeping within this budget of yours. If you've got more than that, this is what we can do within that budget. And again, it's just trying to add that element of transparency is probably the best word. Like, we're not looking to throw hidden extra costs later on. We're just looking to be transparent and candid, so that again, we can provide the best end product possible for what you're looking to achieve.
Yeah, I think that's really honest and really transparent. And I think people do get wary of telling you their budget. They're very quick to ask what you charge or what your day rate is, but it's but what's your budget? What have you got to throw at this? Let's work together on it. And I think it's a shame that people aren't as open about it, because it would make our lives a lot easier, as you say.
Yeah, I think it very much comes down to, like we were just talking about earlier, about that sort of the overarching focus behind it. I was just saying whilst we were off air that it's all well and good just bringing a videographer or a video production company in to create this tool for your business, but it's how you use that tool afterwards. If it's just going to end up sitting on a hard drive and gathering digital dust, or you're only going to post it once in a blue moon, you're not going to get the effectiveness or the return on your investment that you're after. And then that's where I suppose like guys like yourself come in instrumentably, because this is when you really start to kick that marketing plan into gear. This is where we start to look in tracking your measures of success, returns on investment. You're focusing on your KPIs and all of these different elements. So it's like, what were your click-through rates before posting this video? What are your click-through rates 3 months after, 6 months after, and so on and so forth. Out of those click-through rates, how many of those are converting into genuine inquiries? How much of those are then converting into business? And that they're the indicators where you're going to start to see the value of the tool that we're creating for you. Obviously, if you're not tracking any of that, you might as well just be holding your finger into the wind and going, I think it's doing well, or maybe the winds have just changed or the tides changed. That's why we're getting something. And there's nothing to prove it there, which is why bringing in services like you two is so important, because then you can make sure that you're creating your social media strategies and your kind of paid advertising, making sure it's going in the right direction to make sure it's getting in front of the right eyeballs so that you can start creating all of those conversions. And again, I was talking about paid advertising there with you guys. Like, marketing is a consistent process. You're not going to get it right in one foul swoop. You may need to change some variables within your strategy or the kind of elements within the paid advertising to make sure it's hitting where it needs to be. Like, there may be ways to improve it. Again, that's where you guys are going to come in, having the know-how far more than I can. But again, it's creating that transparency and candidness that this marketing process doesn't just stop with creating the video. It's working with these other social media and marketing agencies to make sure that it's getting where it needs to be.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the, like, for me, like, my head instantly goes into the why to begin with. Like, where's this request come from? Like, what is even the thinking and the need and that purpose, which attaches to your vision. And then, like, then it moves over to you, Josh, and then that bit at the end, and then what? So where is it going to, like, I guess the end and the beginning come together, like, then execute it and make sure you get your return on investment from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't do the end bit if you've not done the start bit.
Yeah, and like I was saying, that's where that figuring out the problem that they're looking to fix, or the goal they're looking to achieve, that's why it's so important in that initial discovery process to find out what it is, rather than just, okay, you want to create a video, fantastic, I can stick a camera in front of you for 2 days and charge a week's worth of editing, and fantastic. But that's not what I'm looking to achieve. My success is fundamentally the client's success. If I can have a follow-up with them 2-3 months down the line and go, how are you getting along with the video? And I'm getting a response going, we've had like a 30% improvement on click-through rates, which has converted into 10% growth on in business, which has resulted in an extra £20,000 in sales. Boom, goosebumps. You think, fantastic, what we've done is hit the nail on the absolute head. You guys are using it how you need to be using it. You've worked with people that have gotten it in front of the right eyeballs, and now your £1,500 investment has now netted 20 grand. Like, win. Like,
yeah, and they're gonna do it again, aren't they?
That's the hope there. They're going to see the success in it. And I suppose that's the risk. You don't know, whichever clients come to you, you don't know what their experience has been before. So if they're coming in with that slightly negative or kind of held back attitude, they may have had a not so great experience before, or that they've done video production before and it's not landed how they want to be with whoever else. So these are the sort of kind of pitfalls that we sometimes have to work against. But again, it's bringing that fun, vibrancy, positive attitude kind of into every kind of conversation, interaction you're having with the client, just to try and reaffirm that this doesn't have to be a negative experience, because that transcends through the entire process, from pre-production to filming afterwards, and then kind of that cycle repeats again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's some great points in the whole conversation here, like some really good points around just that pausing and that consideration point. And then just having, one of the key things, like you discussed, is just knowing how much you want to spend, how much you want to invest, and then being able to just have that conversation so it's kind of, it fits with both parties as well.
Like I said, we want to create success for you. So if success looks like X, if success looks like Y, if success looks like Z, we'll try and create something for you that fits within that realm of possibility. And again, we'll be honest, if at the level we're currently at, we can't go as low as what you need to. But again, there's loads of other options out there. YouTube, for example, there's so much engaging content that's already been created by people that have decided to go against the university curve, for example, and go, you know what, I'm going to have a go at doing this myself and learn through others. So if you don't know how to change the resolution that your phone shoots at from HD to 4K, I guarantee if you type how do I improve the resolution on my iPhone into YouTube, you will have hundreds of thousands pop up. How do I frame my video more professionally? How do I improve my audio? There's going to be so many elements of learning out there on YouTube and other educational platforms where you'll be able to just grab those little nuggets of knowledge that you need for whatever you're trying to achieve at that moment and apply it at a far more cost-effective option. Yes, I'm admittedly putting myself out of a job a little bit by saying these elements, but I truly believe it's that give value to get. So like I was talking about with the experience I'd had recently with the chap that wasn't quite ready for it, my hoping and outlook is that if I can help provide this value now to help improve things without any expectations in the immediate, that will then come round full circle and that will kind of convert into sales later on. If it doesn't, that's not the end of the world. I've been able to educate someone so they can pass on that knowledge to others within their business, other networking events, and just start bringing that kind of production value up and up and up. So I always say to people that any content is good content, but good content is great. And it's always just been a bit of a mantra that I've said to people that have been kind of teetering on the edge of kind of doing this or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, some good points.
I think a great point just that backs up what Kelly and I bang on about is this strategy first element. And I think people think of video as being fluffy or being tactical, or not having to consider their why or the purpose of the video or the reason for engaging in your services. People just go, I want a video and I think I want it to be able to do this, will you help me? Whereas it's so enlightening to hear somebody else who isn't necessarily a marketer back the marketing side up and go, no, hang on a minute, why are you doing this? What are the drivers? What do you want to achieve? What are your targets? Where's your strategy? Where's your branding guidelines? And I think people think that Kelly and I just bang on for the sake of it about it, but actually,
we just love a good whinge, don't we?
We just like to moan. But there's reason behind it. There's reason why we say strategy first and to work top down. And so, yeah, I think for me, that's just invaluable for other people to hear it from someone that isn't me or Kelly.
Prior preparation and planning and all of that jazz.
Yeah, that's it, definitely.
As Josh is our guest, do you have one final question to ask, Hayley?
What would be your main takeaway that you would advise listeners or viewers? What would be the one big nugget of advice that you would give them?
Just have a go. Genuinely say that the first step is always the biggest and scariest, but just have a go at your creating your own content, because like I was saying, any content is good content and great say that one again. Any content is good content, but good content is great. Even if it ends up taking you a dozen or so attempts to get the video how you want it to look, whether that be through a kind of scripting format or kind of how you're looking generally, the end user or the end person looking at the video is only going to see that one take, and they're going to think that one take is great because you were happy with it. So just have a go. That's the one nugget that I can give. Just have a go.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. That was such a good conversation.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Really, really good. Loads of things for people to take away there. Just trying to remember what our next episode is. Hang on, I'm writing it down. Creating a good content strategy on a budget.
A great segue. A great segue.
Marketing strategy on a budget.
Oh, marketing strategy.
It's a bit big. I didn't want to hit us up for something that we're not going to do. It's the eyes.
I was just like, it does fit in well, doesn't it? Like video fits into marketing strategy very well.
I think again with your prior episode with kind of the introduction of AI and things like that, I think the kind of trends down there will make for a really good episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, the AI one.
Yes, it was good. We've had some people comment on the AI one and some listeners as well, haven't we? So thank you to people that have been in touch. It's been good.
Taken off.
Yes, gone viral, absolutely viral. Thank you to everyone that's listening and watching to this episode. Thank you to Josh for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh.
And yeah, tune in for the next episode on marketing strategies on a budget. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, see you soon. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Interesting being on the